I am in the Arcata Community Forest, and towering above me is an approximately 20-foot tall old-growth redwood stump lined with a series of intricate, artistically crafted wood carvings along its length. But whoever carved these sculptures over 50 years ago remains a mystery to this. All right, hold it right there. A little bit melodramatic there, aren't you? This was the introduction to a Humboldt Outdoors episode from February 2022. Now, shortly after it was broadcast on Access Humboldt's Community Access Cable Channel 12, we received some information about the artist who carved the sculptures. And to tell you more about that story, I'd like to take you back to the 1970s, in the era when the sculptures were carved. And that is where I am going right now, here on Humboldt Outdoors. It's the 1970s, man, and what an interesting time it is here on the campus of what is known as Humboldt State College. Right here on this very plaza on May 11th, 1970, an estimated 3,000 students, faculty, and staff gathered in opposition to the recent invasion of Cambodia by American forces. I'll meet you up at Founders Hall, where I will explain the connection between this college in the early 1970s and the wood carving. So let's go. In 1972, the college changed its name to California State University Humboldt, or as we alumni usually refer to it, Humboldt State University. And around the same time, a man named Jack Navarro was newly hired as an HSU employee in plant operations. And Jack Navarro is the artist who carved those sculptures on the 20-foot old-growth redwood stump in the nearby redwood forest. Before his afternoon work shift at Humboldt State University began, Jack would make his way up this very road with his bag of tools to go work on his carvings. Now, no one had asked Jack to make these carvings. No, he didn't receive any pay to do so. He just wanted to do it. He wanted to express his own unique creative style. As Jack walked or drove up this road, the sounds and the bustle of the nearby college campus would slowly diminish as he headed yet further into the peace and the quiet of this redwood forest. Eventually, Jack would arrive right here to this old-growth redwood stump in this beautiful redwood grove, and he would spend hours and hours carving the sculptures on the other side. So now, let's move ahead about 50 years to our present time. I'll meet you on the other side. Well, unfortunately, Jack Navarro is no longer with us, so we can't really ask him what inspired him to create these sculptures, or maybe some of the meaning behind some of what he chose to create. But his wife, at the time that he made the sculptures, Lynn, has agreed to meet with me to tell us more. Oh, and just one more little detail before we meet with Lynn. She has made a special request that we keep the focus on Jack and his artwork rather than on her. So I'll be mostly showing footage of his artwork while she's discussing it. All right, let's go meet Lynn. Oh, thank you so much for meeting me here, Lynn. All out of the blue, you saw this video that we had done at Humboldt Outdoors, and it says, and the mystery artist, still we don't know who it is. What did you think when you saw that?
I thought it was pretty funny, actually. My youngest son saw it in Oregon and sent me the link, and then my oldest granddaughter in Oregon said, Grandma, did Grandpa Jack do all those carvings? And I said, yes, he did.
You two were married shortly before he started work on the Arcata Forest carvings, right?
Right. We were married in 1971.
Uh-huh.
And then the next year is when he was carving that sculpture in the Redwood Park. He just would see the beauty in something, and he knew that he wanted to carve in that stump. I distinctly remember we used to drive through Redwood Park, and he then decided he would carve something in that stump. He enjoyed beautifying it in some way. But he got permission to do it. He did his job when he was at work, and then the sculpturing was done on his own time.
When he was working on it almost every day to carve on?
Almost every day.
What about weekends?
Weekends, actually, always.
So when he was in the process of carving that, he was completely obsessed with that project.
Absolutely. It took everything out of him, too. It was the only time he ever got worn out from doing something, is when he was doing his carving.
Was it because of the physical aspect?
The physical aspect of it.
So it was hard work making those carvings.
It was hard work.
Did he ever use chainsaws?
No. He had a wooden mallet that he had fitted to his hand that he used for hitting his chisels that would take out big chunks of wood until he got it roughed out so that he could shape it to how he wanted the sculpture to look with his intricate carving tools.
No wonder he was exhausted at the end of the day.
Right. It took a lot out of him when he did his sculptures.
How did he know when he was done with it?
Because he would have in his mind just that he was going to do like the bear, the mother and the cub, and the deer, the mother and the fawn, and then the mother and child head, and then the face, and then he was done.
So he didn't just sort of make it up as he went along?
No, he pretty much knew what he wanted to do when he started carving something.
Would he make any sketches beforehand what he wanted, or was it all in his mind, do you know?
It was all in his mind.
How was he able to work up there at those heights?
Well, he built a scaffolding so he could get up and down off of it. So it was up there for a while he worked on it.
Would you go there when he was working on it?
Oh, yeah.
And what would you do when you went there?
Just be there with food or something for him to drink or whatever in between before he had to go to work.
What about the heads? We thought they were some kind of a helmet.
No, it's like the mother and the child. A lot of his sculptures had to do with mother and child.
We noticed he used in those sculptures a mixture of abstract, like in the bear and the heads, but yet when you get to the deer, they're real precise.
Yep, that was his style of his carvings. That's what he did.
Do you know why he chose the animals, the deer and the bear?
I think he just fit into the Redwood Park up there, the trees and the stumps and everything. Mm-hmm. He just always could visualize it in his mind as an artist of what would look good.
So it was just that the deer, the animals, harmonize better in the forest.
Right.
Maybe.
It's been there like about 50 years, so I'm sure many people have enjoyed his work.
And moving on from that, he did other carvings you were telling me about, like the ones in Humboldt State University.
So I think it had to do with the students and the different arts and different things at Humboldt when he did these.
Where can people see his other works of art?
Lazy L Ranch, that was probably 50 years ago also, and he called it a one-eyed Jack that he carved in the stump up there. Some friends of ours owned Lazy L Ranch at that time. He never asked for pay or wanted pay for doing stuff. He just always did it like out of the goodness of his heart.
Wow. Glenn, it was really gracious of you to take the time to share this information.
Well, thank you for doing a story on it. That's very nice for the family. My son and the grandkids that never really got to see his sculptures.
So based on the comments we received on our initial video, it's enchanted a lot of people locally.
He put a lot of feeling into his sculptures.
Yeah, exactly. When I look at them now, I'm going to try to think what was the feeling he was trying to build into his artwork.
I'm just kind of happy that he's finally getting some kind of recognition for the different sculptures he's done over the years.
Well, Jack is no longer with us, but the legacy of his sculptures throughout this community still lives on. And I can't help but think that because of all the hours he spent here in the serenity and peace of this forest, it helped infuse his artwork with a sense of harmony and balance. Perhaps Jack can serve as an inspiration for all of us to spend more time to appreciate the beauty and also sometimes even the artistry that can be found in Humboldt outdoors.
Like a wild man, sleeping like a child. You're so luminous and vibrant. I'm always in bloom for you. Always in bloom. Always in bloom for you. Times I've stranded, a castaway on unknown shore, although a stranger in this continent, I'm always in bloom for you. Always in bloom, always in bloom for you.
A few days after I visited Glenn, I realized that this story is not over yet. I just had to find out more about the sculptures on this campus that Jack carved. So, I paid a visit to the Cal Poly Humboldt Library Special Collections section. And it was there that I hit the information jackpot. An interview with Jack Navarro about what he had in mind when he carved the sculptures here on campus. And I'm going to go to those sculptures so I can tell you what he had to say.